When Russell Brand calls himself the independent media, the word should stick in his throat. I'm independent media. It doesn't stick in my throat. Let me know in the comments and chat how far you go with conspiracies these days. Where do you tap out? Do you go full frazzle drip? Epstein, Mossad? How far into it do you go? It seems pretty clear now that folks like Alex Jones and David Icke were detecting and delineating true stories and rendering them well for a long while, whether it's Bohemian Grove. But will you follow Icke into the reptilian wilds? I know that David Icke, I wouldn't say trolls me, because as you know, if you watch our show, I like David Icke a lot. And even David Icke can't stop me liking him. I don't mind if David Icke goes, what do you think about that though, Russell? Peter Thiel owns Rumble, or don't you know about this thing or that thing? I'm like, oh man, I'd love to talk about it. You're probably right. I think you're great. When Russell Brand calls himself the independent media, the word should stick in his throat. I'm independent media. It doesn't stick in my throat. He is a fully dependent Trump, Musk, MAGA arse licker. Oh, that's a horrible image. Licking an arse. I mean, I'd only want to do that with someone that I really loved or whose hygiene was beyond reproach. And I don't think either Donald Trump or Elon Musk would qualify in that area. I'd have to be on oh dear, I can't even imagine it. I did imagine it. I didn't like it. Oh, I've had to, that's actually not me. I don't feel very good about that image at all. MAGA arse licker. That's actually not fair to say that, because what I actually believe is that MAGA, if by that you mean sort of American nativism, conservatism, and this kind of new strand of libertarianism, particularly now that it has alloyed onto it RFK, has become a political force that's far more anti-establishment than the neoliberal Democrat establishment that preceded it. But I'm certainly very sympathetic and open to the idea that the institutions of power are now just being occupied by, David Icke would say, just a different set of elites. Well, let's see what he says. Here he quotes Alex Karp, co-founder of Palantir, the intelligence and military surveillance tech supplier, in support of his masters, and says Karp is dropping truth bombs. This is the Karp who bragged that Palantir kills people. Clearly, Mr. Brand has no shame. Well, that's not true. I experience a lot of shame a great deal of the time. Karp is on the steering committee of the globalist Bilderberg Group, along with fellow Palantir founder Peter Thiel, the funder of J.D. Vance's political career, and orchestrator of the AI dystopia via Trump with his friends like Elon Musk. Brand claims to be anti-globalist, just like Vance. Well, I actually am anti-globalist. What I mean as well by globalist is that, as I've said to you loads of times, is there are sets of interests that are bureaucratic and commercial that form various nexuses, and that's a word you lot should be banning me from in brand bingo, of power. And what I would contest is that nativism, whether it's in France or the UK or the USA, has served as an obstacle to that advancing imperial power. And I am against it. I believe in individual sovereignty, community sovereignty, and national sovereignty in the sort of broadest possible sense. Brand says, in effect, that the Democrats can't criticise billionaire Musk taking over government when George Soros supported them, thus perpetuated the diversionary left-right puppet show when it's a one-party state. Neither unelected billionaire should have the power over government that they do. Try that for size, Mr. Brand. I actually do agree with that. But if you spoke the truth and exposed the puppet show, you would not be able to arse-kiss Trump and Musk. Remember, I didn't like that image, which gets you invites to Mar-a-Lago. So much for sight. I have been to Mar-a-Lago, and it is amazing. I mean, it's amazing. It's like sort of Disney World. On one hand, it's just a normal hotel and a golf club, but on the other hand, you might meet Donald Trump at any moment. I've got extraordinary tales from there, that's true. But not so much more. I didn't get anything. Not only are you not the independent media, Mr. Brand, with the virtue signalling fly on your forehead. What does that mean? Does he mean the Ash Wednesday? Look, if I don't mention Ash Wednesday, you're going to have serious questions about what's on my forehead. That was just because they were doing Ash Wednesday out there. Right, this is where you get, what I feel like is, because I've been super famous for ages and stuff, Like, you then get around other famous, and it ruins conspiracy theories for you. Like, see that the virtue signaling fly on my forehead. That's because I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And when I come here to where I make the content, they were doing a Bible study and they were doing ash. And I was like, yes, please, I'll take it. So that's why that's there. And I love the Lord. I love Jesus Christ. Not only are you not the independent media, but you're virtue signaling, you're an insult to those who are, which is him, really. And that's where I think David Icke is injured. If you take this guy seriously as a truth teller, you've really lost the plot. You don't have to take me seriously as anything. I'm a comedian. But what I would say is that I am telling the truth. And what I would say is that I'd like to echo some of the comments that I read underneath it, where people say that David Icke has been right about a lot of things for a long time. But he does seem very bruised and hurt, and I'm not surprised because he endured a lot coming out. He was one of the first people that talked about anti-establishment stuff in mainstream media. He was very bold and very brave in doing so, but he sounds like the love in him sounds injured and wounded. And I would say, David, a lot of people really love you, and sometimes underneath these messages you can detect a kind of woundedness and brokenness, and I'm not surprised because I know you've undergone tragic events in your family, and I pray for the soul in particular of your daughter. May she rest in peace. But I also feel that wherever you exist in the independent media space, don't we, this is a question to all of you, have to find ways that we can align with one another and form alliances with one another, because evil is real. There is a dark, evil, organized intelligence expressing itself through human institutions. And the number one thing it wants us to do is quarrel with one another about minor and ultimately insignificant differences, whether that's on the old political left or right, or sub-fractions within independent media, or whether that's like Crowder versus, like when you hear like Tucker don't like Shapiro or vice versa or whatever it is. I can't remember all of the different details, but when you hear different people that I would say are largely outside of the establishment. I know some people go, Ben Shapiro, that Zionist pro-Israel, Tucker, that, and then they'll have a reason for that. Like what I'm saying is in pathetic Zionist, predator, blackmailed, oh my God, see that person there that says Jisrael, like that sort of says that I'm Zionist. Oh, how will you maintain that perspective when in a minute we're doing this federal judge blocks deportation of Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil? I'm not saying that I don't have biases, because there would be no I without biases. The I is the biases. Without that, it's just the limitless relational power of the triune God, the relational, transcendent God. Of course I have biases. Everyone has biases. You couldn't use language or maths or music without selection, discernment, or biases. But all of us are trying to plot some way, some Tao, some path through the chaos, through the superstate of potentialities by making choices for words, electing principles. So whether you're David Icke watching this or someone in the chat, remember, we have to find new ways of allying and making alliances. We have to, because perhaps you're right. Perhaps globalists are plastic enough to operate in the upper echelons of power under flags of a variety of hues. Maybe it doesn't make any difference, even when figures as apparently radical in terms of their predecessors, certainly, as Trump and Musk ascend to power. Maybe the same forces are maneuvering. Maybe. Why don't we remain open-minded to all of those possibilities? Here's a possibility that I'd like to put before you. In order for us to manifest true and great power, we will all of us have to undergo an individual reckoning and recognize how we ourselves can connect to the sublime and divine, and that can only come through sacrifice, not because of the suffering, but because through sacrifice you acknowledge there is a primary but subtler reality that all of us are occasionally aware of, and it is the function and job of some of us to bring to the forefront, Rumble have always believed in empowering free speech voices. Do you remember when dirty old Dunkin' Donuts turned their backs, and their stinking donuts? They said that Rumble had a right-wing culture. No. Free speech isn't fascist, but Dunkin' Donuts would have you believe it. So would YouTube, so would all the globalists. Join us on Rumble Premium. You don't only get additional good old Russell Brand Stay Free content, you get additional content from him, and him, and him, and her. Oh, there is a her. And another her. Ah, come on, we did okay. And this gay content. See, we can do it. We ain't no right wing. We're excited to offer you Rumble Premium, a completely ad-free experience with exclusive benefits for viewers and creators. For a limited time, you can get $10 off an annual plan using the promo code BRAND. Visit rumble.com/premium/brand to help me. Use me, help me, and help you. Help me, help you. That's Jerry Maguire, huh?
Help me, help you.
Together, we can turn the tide. Whether you join Rumble Premium or simply keep watching, your kindness helps free speech alive. And if enough of you join, I might give you one last glimpse at these little guys. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.